All right, this is Max Level EDC, and today we're going to talk about the novel Carry Slidekick. So this, of course, is a pry tool or one-piece multi-tool, some people will call it. But this one has a couple hidden features that make it very, very unique. In fact, I think it's the first one of its kind. So obviously, from what we can see, we have laser etched graduations for measuring. We have imperial and metric. We also have a prying edge over here. We have a bottle opener with a hex driver, and we're going to talk about the edge in just a minute. Now, let's get to the big thing, which is this slide. This is hiding something very cool inside. There is a milled pocket in this solid piece of steel, and inside are 3 Wera bits, and they come with 3 bits, a T6, a T8, and a Phillips driver. A number 1, number 2 hybrid, I believe. And these just slot in just like so, and then they lock in. Now, one thing you'll notice about this is there is a small bit of rattle. Now, I tested this without any modification, and in its up and down orientation, there's almost no sound. Okay, so that was really nice to know. I didn't have to do anything to it. But this version, which is in stainless steel, was lent to me. I ordered my version on Kickstarter, and it's in titanium and doesn't have its pocket clip. I had it specifically designed for this wallet, and so it can lay flat. I took off the pocket clip so it slots in just like so. The difference in weight between these two, it's not quite twice as much, but it's approximately 100 grams, 60 grams, something like that. Okay, so there is some difference in weight. The fit and finish are very, very similar. Also, something that is of note is that the screws on the stainless steel version, they're all titanium, which I thought was really interesting. And the fit and finish, you almost cannot tell the difference between them. That's very impressive. The same level of attention was put on both. Yeah, it's a really interesting piece. On top of everything, it has a detent both in open and closed position for the slide, and I can't even figure out how they did it. It's very cool. Not to mention, very enjoyable to play with. And speaking of that, my version doesn't really come out for that purpose for a couple reasons. Now, you can hear sound here, right? Yeah, you know me, I have to modify things. That's kind of how it goes. What you might or may not be able to see inside is that I have put a small piece of fluffy cord, if you will. This is like the kind of yarn that you use to make baby blankets and so on. You can get it at Joann's, but this worked perfectly. I just cut a very small piece, about maybe that much, and then slotted it in the bottom of this. And what this does is push up on the bits and then keep it in a fixed position when things are sitting. Now, but what you can see is by doing that, I'm unable to close the slide. So I actually have to reach in with my thumb and press down to get the slide to close. But once I do, no rattle. So there are some pluses and minuses, and it's clear to me why they didn't do this with their original version. It's not the end of the world, as I said, because in the up and down orientation, there's almost no sound, which is great, especially when it's in the pocket. But for me, I like the fact that it doesn't make any noise, or at least that I know it doesn't. Now, as you can see here, when we exposed, we have a pressed fit magnet, 4mm driver. There's a lanyard hole. And these spacings, by the way, was very cleverly done. The screw size is different, but the spacing of these 2 holes is equivalent to a Benchmade clip. So you can actually drill the holes on the clip itself, on a Benchmade clip, and you can actually fit it here with the screws that are included in the Slidekick's kit. You just make sure you save all of these components. So that is really neat. Now, price, let's talk about that for a second. This is a CNC'd piece of equipment, so it's very, very expensive processing. But even then, it actually comes in cheaper than many of the multi-tool style pry tools that I have. So $105 for the titanium and $60 for stainless steel. Very impressive, actually. I actually didn't think it was going to come in at that price point. I figured, especially being the first one by Novel Carry, it might be even more, but I'm actually pretty happy with that. 105, it may seem high, but for something of this caliber, that's pretty much a lifelong tool. I mean, you can't go wrong. Nothing on the titanium version outside of the magnet and the bits can be corroded over time. So as long as you don't lose it, this is a lifelong tool. And I mean, yeah, I'm pretty darn impressed. Now, the one thing we need to talk about that I want to finish up in is the Pry Edge itself. The angle is as good as they can make it, of course, from steepness, because you have those screws. But there's some other aspects of the prying edge that I just discovered by accident. So we have, of course, a really nice thickness, but look at the chamfering on the side. You see how it creates a really, really thin edge? Well, in addition to being good for opening packages, you can also use that to get in between small pieces of plastic. You know, if you have a toy and you're trying to pry two sides apart, if you've ever had to do that, it's very hard to do without a sharp edge. So instead of using a knife, you actually have a sharp edge that you can then transition to the thicker version of the edge. You see how you can even see how it tapers out, right? On both sides. So that's actually surprisingly useful. I'm also quite thankful that they did not put a nail puller, because it's not a practical use of pulling out a nail anyway. The most likely place you would even consider it would be with the stainless steel version, but even then, why? Why are you doing this? If you had to, of course you could, but you can do so without the need of having that slot. Once you get it up to a certain distance, you can actually put the nail in the same area as the bottle opener, and you can actually use the leverage to actually pry it up from there. So if you're really determined to get out a nail, you can still do it. You can actually use the bottle opener section to pull it out even further. So I'm very, very pleased with these. They are great. Fit and finish wise, they're phenomenal. And yeah, this is going to be a permanent part of my wallet kit for a very long time. So along with my custom, this is a jet setter with a pen, but this is a great combination for me. This was kind of a perfect addition, and I'm very happy to have it. So thanks for tuning in and taking this first look at the Novel Carry Slidekick. I will put a link to their website down below. I do believe they have the blackwashed version of this currently in stock as of the making of this video. So thanks again, and we will talk again soon.